Hello, and welcome to toonkind at 12 frames per second. Today, I am Owl. I'm going to be your DM and also your shorts kid. And we as in the royal we, are joined by Maud. Say hello, Maud.
Hello, I'm Maud. I'm playing the engineer, and I am slightly disorganized because this game had a reschedule. So sorry, I'm slightly less fluid in my thought and movements than usual.
It's okay, you'll fit right in. That's how I do things all the time.
Okay.
So, like just right now, all my thoughts went out of my brain. But
No
like
thoughts, head empty.
yeah. So we set the stage like this. Uh Engineer and Shorts Kid, it's like we have jokes about like, oh, do you live at work or whatever, but a lot of people do in fact live at the studio. It is 4 stories deep.
Mm.
We have said that, which means there's a lot of room down there. And
Mm.
there's a lot of rooms, as in, like, there's green rooms, makeup rooms, specific actual bedrooms, one of which is absolutely chock full of Bird Movie Awards and just the Avian Film Awards, that sort of deal. And it's insane, but it's actually really handy if you have like a lot of workers and they need some place to live where like you won't like gouge them for rent or whatever. So it's also handy if you happen to have like 7 sort of your kids but not totally your kids, but you did adopt these two legally. And
Mm.
one such kid is currently in their own room, which they have decorated to be covered in like Lisa Frank star stickers, like just horrible neon monstrosities that are
Love
beautiful
it.
and awful. And they are currently having a nightmare.
Oh no, baby.
Yeah. So, Shorts Kid is having a nightmare, which is hard to sort of distinguish because, again, the studio is so large. I'm gonna say that the only reason why the engineer may or may not catch this is that he has also just had a nightmare. Can you please roll
Mm.
Constitution for me?
Oh shit. Okay, yeah, sure can do that. Is that Constitution saving or just straight up?
It's like if you had a nightmare, like, uh, it's. I'm trying to determine how shaken he is.
Hmm. I'm just gonna do straight then,
Yeah.
because yeah, +6 is no fun. +3 is more interesting. He's not doing so hot. It was a really bad one. Should I describe it? I've no idea.
Go ahead, just say whatever comes to the top of your mind. What is the thing that he
Yeah,
is most afraid of that has wiggled up in his brain this night?
but it's come up again and again and again. Is this, his failure as an engineer to protect the people that he's supposed to be looking after? Because that's one of the jobs. Is if you're driving a train or running a business or doing anything like, adopting a family is to look after those people from the beginning to the end of the destination, whether it's life or a literal train journey. So I think it starts off where he's like just doing normal studio work. It's like one of those dreams where you're pretty sure you're not dreaming and you're actually just doing everyday stuff, yeah? And he's on the set and it's the tiniest slip. It's the tiniest, most mundane slip, like his foot goes off the edge of a platform. And normally that wouldn't be a big deal, like he'd land on his ass or something, but he doesn't. He just keeps falling. And yeah, so on that scene, he like falls and someone was reaching for him, but he can't see who it was. But then he's like crashed through the floor, and then he's falling through a weird sort of stone tower, which is weird, and someone's reaching for him and he can't see who it is. And then he's gone through another floor and he's falling through air and it's very cold and there's a bridge and yeah, he just keeps falling through different scenes over and over and over and yeah, the clarity of the people reaching for him, it changes every time. And yeah, he's increasingly aware that like one of them is Larry, one of them is Shortskid, one of them is Tobias, and like it gets more and more clear. and he's just going faster and faster. It's like it's not even gravity anymore. It's like there's an invisible chain attached to the middle of his back, and he's being pulled really, really, really fast through all these sets, and then it just becomes a blur because he's going through like a film reel, and he's breaking through the black bars of each cell, and then he hits the floor because he has actually fallen out of bed. And he is very, 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 very okay, not okay with this. Yeah, that's where he's at.
Okay, because the engineer is so deep in his head, I'm gonna say that he has disadvantage on this next perception check.
Okay, that's fair. So I need to make a perception check, right? Okay.
Yeah.
A disadvantage, always a good thing. 22, what a shame it is not. 9, I could have had a 22, but it's a 9. Yeah, he's jittery. He's like shaking a bit, actually.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say that, engineer, you're sort of walking through the halls trying to get your mind off this. Like, how do you get your mind off of things you don't want to think about? You do a bunch of work that you shouldn't be doing at, like, 2 in the morning. And you ignore everything else.
I mean, God, you got my number. I mean, yeah. He's gone straight to his scripts, which he's been redlining and doing edits on, because writing is rewriting, folks. And this is the worst state of mind to be doing that in. It's like everything is bad. Like, so he's like, yeah, everything I've written is shit. I'll have to do this all again. This is no good.
Exactly. So, with this state of mind and the fact that you are walking very fast because you know how you feel when you have like an intense like adrenaline rush and then like everything, even the shadows themselves, are out to get you?
Mm-hmm.
You're having that, so you're feeling the fear just kind of nipping at your heels, and that makes you just kind of skip down the hallway. You walk right past your bedroom, Short's kid's bedroom, and Snailian's little private like Snailian nook. Snailian usually likes to sleep with someone else, but also she's got a little nook, because, like, everybody needs their own private space.
It's true.
So, you hear like a sort of, but you think it's just your feet, because, you have, put on your slippers, and, your slippers are penguins, and they're actually very cozy and, like, squishy. So, like, they make thump, 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 thump noises as you walk.
I shall walk on the backs of my enemies in the shape of penguin slippers. Oh, the picture you did is so good. I really hope that goes up in the video.
I actually cannot because I don't have any video editing thing. I usually upload straight to YouTube.
Oh, it's fine. We might be able to put, like, links. I think you can actually, like, link to images in the commentary, so anyway.
Yeah,
I will make sure. I will make sure that somehow it is seen, because the precious PJ Grandpa is just too good.
Yep. So, you have walked down the hallway, you have entered the living area, which is, again, part of your sort of section of the 4 stories down in the studio, and you have headed into what I'm going to call, like, the study. It's actually, like, the living room, but I don't know what English people call it. And, there's a couch, there's a desk, there's a lot of, there's like one of those really old 90s computers, but like, it's Short's Kids, so it's also covered in tacky stickers, and Short's Kid has been trying to convince the engineer to use it for writing instead of like a typewriter, because typewriters jam and it's a pain.
Space technology, he does not trust it.
Exactly. So they're like, it's fine, just try it out. Look, you can play Sudoku. And he's like, I can play Sudoku on my own time.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I can't do his voice. I'm being facetious, but he stomps out. At the desk is this space computer. Next to it is his trusty typewriter, and right there is the beloved 3rd movie for Call Wars, which you have been working on rewriting, because again, writing is rewriting. You've been writing these a bunch and doing edits, and it's the big like confrontation scene in the 3rd movie, but you're not really in the right space to write it because you're absolutely terrified of writing something that won't be good, and then you'll let everybody down even more.
Yeah, and there's, again, like, as with Calamity Jane, there's a lot riding on this movie, and it's like not even one movie, it's a trilogy. So like he's really putting his neck on the line with this. Yeah. Mm.
Exactly. So, you sit down and pull out your favorite pen or pencil or whatever you're writing with, and you start scribbling away, and that's when you hear the refrigerator door open because just off of the study is the kitchen.
Okay. So he's immediately, unfortunately, especially in the state he's in, going to assume someone's broken in and is for some reason, I mean, it's not that big of a leap. He's had assassination attempts. Someone's trying to poison the stuff in the fridge.
Okay, so what does he want to do then?
He's gonna sneak. He's gonna try and sneak up on them.
Okay, roll stealth.
I will if I can remember what the hell mine is. Okay, so I'm 3. On that one! That was a crit fail plus 3.
Your penguin slipper is, well, very good for like vicariously working through like angry feelings towards your rivals in filmmaking, are not very good for sneaking because they're soft and on the underside is like plastic. So you try to like you walk out of the den, which is carpeted, like it's a wood floor and there's a carpet on it, and then you walk into the kitchen, which has tiling, and just tap 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 tap, and it like echoes like gunfire.
God damn. I think he actually probably says, who's there?
And you can't quite see who's there behind the fridge, but you can see their shadow cast on the wall behind them as they dig through. And just as you're saying, oh fuck, they pop their head out from behind the door, and it is the big, innocent, slightly tear-stained eyes of your adopted child.
Oh, my wee darling, what's the matter? And he's immediately going to scoop them up into a hug, because, oh no, why? And also, why are you awake? Did you have a nightmare?
Shorts Kid is scooped, and, but still clutching a bottle of Sprat to their chest. Sprat, if you didn't know, is my terrible off-brand Shorts Kid's favorite soda drink. And it has not been opened, but it looks like they're gonna start, and Shorts Kid just rubs at one eye and says, no.
Do I even need to make an insight check for that? I mean...
You can if you want. It's a very low insight check.
Yeah, okay, let's see, like, how bad he perceives it to be. Right.
Yeah, you know that something is wrong and they're probably lying, but how bad they're lying is what will be revealed by this.
Could I argue advantage because he has, like, raised 2 generations of kids?
Yes, you can.
Thank goodness, because an 8 is not fantastic and I would quite like it to be better. 11 isn't great, though, either. I mean,
that'll pass the insight check, though.
Okay.
Yeah, I made the check 10. So just like in even 10, you had a 50-50 chance of figuring out all the hot goss, and you can definitely tell that this kid has had a nightmare. This is the face of a child who has had a nightmare and is trying to drown their sorrows, not in alcohol, because who needs that, but in terrible knockoff brand sugary soda. And you can tell this even more because Shorts Kid, despite like opening the bottle as you are holding them, and taking a sip, has just kind of buried their head underneath the engineer's chin, like butting gently.
I'm gonna die. Oh god, that's sad cute. I think he's just actually going to hold them very gently for as long as it takes for them to calm down enough to maybe talk about it. He's also trying to think of things that, you know, they can do to facilitate that conversation. He's also trying not to be terribly upset because, like, oh no.
Maybe. After about 3 minutes or so and half the bottle of Sprat, maybe I had a nightmare.
I was starting to wonder.
'Cause, like, everybody has nightmares, right? It's not weird.
Hey, we do.
There's nothing wrong with having nightmares. It's normal.
Unfortunately, I have to concede that is the truth, but they are very unpleasant. There's definitely a sort of irony to the pat being given to the top of Shorts Kid's head. And in fact, this is very comforting.
Yeah. Shorts Kid offers their half-drink sprat to the dad.
Say goodbye to your bottle, because, yeah, crunch.
Big wide eyes, and Shorts Kid goes, do it again.
Nah, I mean, that's quite enough sugar for me. What do they put in that? And yeah, he's immediately got, like, the grandparent who's not used to imbibing that much sugar rush, and he's done a sort of little whoosh glow. Oh, well, I do feel slightly better. Hey, sugar. Hey, do you know what I used to do when I had nightmares?
No, did you, like, build rock houses and ride dinosaurs till you felt better?
Just gonna... He just pauses for a second for the comic beat. He said, no, but I did live in a place which was really good for camping. I don't really feel like going outside, but you want to make a blanket fort?
Shorts Kid tilts their head and is like, what's a blanket fort?
Oh, you don't know! Oh, you poor wee thing! I haven't given you a proper education. And he's swinging Shorts Kid around now, like holding them underneath their armpits, like, oh, you are going to love this. Montage time?
Yeah, so, like, Shorts Kid's just like, I don't think blankets would make a very good fort. They're not, like, they'd fall apart, right? And that's when Train Dad has to, like, sort of enlighten this young child. Just, you gotta. So, I'm gonna say both characters need to roll an investigation check for pillows, blankets, and cushions.
Okay, great. I have absolute nothing in that, but fortunately we're in a studio full of stuff.
Don't worry, you can still make a good blanket fort even if you bite this roll.
Yeah, I bit that pretty hard.
Yeah, don't worry, Shorts Kid is here to help. Now that I've said that.
Come on, wizard.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Right.
It's not good enough to get the bonus that I was gonna give advantage on actually crafting the fort if you found enough really good blankets and stuff, but you guys go looking, and for the most part you just have like utilitarian like blankets and stuff. You have the couch cushions, you found a chair somewhere, and you have a broomstick. Just the basics. Shorts Kid actually brought in most of them because they got really excited as soon as you said, go and grab whatever you can find that's soft.
That was lovely. Bless you. Yeah. Can I say, like, I mean, they're in a studio which is full of electrics. Can we at least have fairy lights?
Oh, definitely. You have to go, like, you look for fairy lights, and I'd say that if you know where fairy lights is, you, like, just, like, be like, where would you keep the fairy lights? Where could you get them in a short amount of time?
Blimey. I mean, you've described us as, like, basically being in the basement. I don't know if we're, like, 4 stories down. That seems a bit extreme.
We're not 4 stories down. I mean, like, it means, like, there's 4 stories below it, so this is, like, the very bottom is reserved for, like, props, extra stuff. It's the film vault.
Yeah.
3rd floor down is for filming where you need it to be quiet. 2nd film, living quarters. 2nd floor, living quarters, and then, like, 1st floor is, like, the basement slash, like, also filming area.
Okay, I didn't know that. Owner of Dodo Studios didn't know that layout.
No, I just made that up. I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. I mean, I actually do. I need to draw, like, a map of this place. Anyway, basically, he's gonna go wherever he keeps the fucking lights, so... Because they do use those, like, every day.
Okay, I'm gonna say that, you specifically go upstairs, and you start looking around, and, you find fairy lights, because I'm just gonna give this one to you. You want fairy lights? You can have some fucking fairy lights. And in case people are wondering what those are, in, American, they're Christmas lights.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know that
No,
was...
I love the word fairy lights, but I also know that some people aren't gonna know what we're talking about.
Okay, they're little twinkly nice things, and it makes every blanket fort just so much better. Even if it's the shittiest blanket fort, if you have pretty lights, then it's just like, oh, magic.
Exactly. So, you come back in with fairy lights that are, surprise, surprise, super tangled in your arms, and Shorts Kid has just created a massive mound of pillows and blankets and is sitting on top of them looking at you for further instruction.
Okay, that's so cute. And the engineer is basically, he kind of looks like a Christmas tree right now. But because he's kind of like so endeared by this, I think a little bit of his storm sorcery kicks in and there's enough of an electrical charge for the lights to turn on while he's like basically bedecked in them.
Shorts Kid's just like, whoa, you're double glowy.
Oh, that's new. Okay, well, interesting. Might be able to save some electricity like this. Help me plug it in and set them up.
Okay, and so I'm gonna need both of our characters to roll a survival check for the fort, just to see how good we make it. Even if it's shitty, it's still gonna be pretty good.
22!
Yeah.
That's the good roll we needed.
There we go. This fits with him being real good at blanket forts. Shorts Kid less so. Shorts Kid basically
tries...
Yeah, they're just holding the shit as he, like, basically puts it together all himself. Like, you know, every adult does with, like, a kid's science project.
Shorts Kid is supervising, you know, that's important.
Mm-hmm. So, you put together this fort. It looks absolutely boffer. I hope I'm using that right.
It looks boffer? That's an amazing word.
Yeah, B-O-F-F-E-R. I'm pretty sure it's a word.
I love that. I don't care if it isn't. I'm using it now. It's boffer.
It looks real great. And you have set up the fairy lights, and because you were doing most of the work, you wipe away, like, a little bit of, like, sugar high-induced sweat, and then you, you flop down, and Shorts Kid is just like, this looks neat. Oh, is it big enough? Is it big enough for you? And they grab your arm, and they drag you inside.
See, it's just the right size for two.
And Shorts Kid's smile puts your fairy lights to shame.
Oh, man.
Literally, because they have the cantrip lights, and they're like, they accidentally use the cantrip without thinking about it, so their cheeks are glowing.
Oh my god. Yeah, I think that's just too adorable. He basically, like, grab tackles you, and there is more hugging. Just sort of the softest, warmest, I love you, hugging without words.
Yep, and Shorts Kid is also hugging, but after about, like, 20 seconds or so, you notice the hugging is more desperate. Like, the grip is just, like, a little bit tighter, and the face is not coming out of the floof, and there's, like, the very solemn sort of sigh of a child who is very sad but does not want to, like, mess up a good night.
I think, again, like, he's just going to do the silent hugging and give them enough time to process whatever feeling is going on. But then eventually, give an invitation of, so, now that we're in the best fortress that has ever been made, is there anything you want to confide in me with?
Shorts Kid sits up, and they brought a couple of stuffed animals for the fort. So they grab one and just kind of hold on to it and say, I don't think anybody can hear now, so I think it's alright. It's alright, right?
It's always going to be alright.
That's kind of what the nightmare was about.
Oh?
How it's always alright, but only for me.
Okay, yeah, that gets a sort of, you know, the inhale through the nose and a nod, but he's not going to say anything like, this is Shorts Kid's stage to talk.
And Shorts Kid just kind of cuddles a little bit closer, squeezing the bear's paws gently, because they need something to do with their hands, and they say, it's hard to have all of these things, you know? It's hard to have a lot of friends and a lot of family and a dad and a cool snail sibling and a Larry. It's kind of hard to have because we'll go out and we'll do something and something bad will happen, but it won't happen to me. It'll I always end up fine. It always ends up okay, but only for me. And then I have to wait and I have to see all of these things and I get left behind and it's hard. And Short's kid is wiping at their eyes again, kind of burying their face in the bear. You hear muffled, "It's hard to be the one who's left behind."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That gets another sort of scoop because he's given her enough space to, talk and stuff. But yeah, this requires at least the sitting on Granddad's lap type hug, and he is trying to fathom how to explain survivor's guilt to a child. Um, Basically, yeah, this is PTSD, and he has some not insignificant share of that himself, especially post Vic incident on the Terry train. Yeah, and he just sort of says, "Hey, it is hard. But you can make it easier by talking about it."
Everybody's got so much to do already. They've got so much to talk about, and I just sit here and I feel bad. And I don't want to feel bad because, I don't know. I'm 8, they exclaim, and they're like, I'm almost 9. I'm gonna be 9 in a month, and yet I can't figure out what to do.
Well, I'm slightly older than you are, and what you're dealing with is not simple at any age. That's a very hard hand to have been dealt, and well, both in our own way, we're going to have to deal with it. I think it's very brave of you to have told me this. I'm very glad you have. I'm very sorry you're having to go through it.
It's okay, cause even it hurts, but if someone said you could have given up all this hurt and never felt it, but you would never have your dad or your family or anybody you've met who you have gotten this hurt from or like as a result of, I don't know, I would say no, because even if there's hurt, the good times are better. I wouldn't give up sitting here in Fort Cool, awesome fairy lights for like a bunch of money. I don't even need money. What do I need with money? Well, I could give you the money and then you could use it on your films.
I pick capitalism, but I mean, the basis of what you're saying is absolutely sound, and you have these space bars that can rewind time. I've never had anything like that. I've always had to live with the premise that you cannot go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending.
That's what makes it so scary. And Short's kid leans in and they're like, I'm so used to being able to fix things, and I can't fix them anymore. And no matter what, when we went to the party, me and Larry didn't want to tell you about what happened, but Larry got in trouble, and there's this creepy lady, and she's trying to hurt people, and we made, it feels like we made everything worse, and we couldn't fix it. And after the party, I was talking with Larry, and he showed me the thing. The thing. I don't know if you've seen the thing, so I'm not gonna say if what the thing is, but and I wanted to help him. I wanted to help him a lot. So I figured maybe if I tried really hard with a space bar, I could specifically just help one person. I could help Larry. But it didn't work. It was gray. Just like at camp, it was all gray. And it just kinda, it hits you. And Shorts Kid looks up with like very adamant, very like scared eyes that there aren't any more one-ups. If you die, it's game over for real. And then you think about how everybody else has game overs, and you can't fix any of those game overs. And then you just keep living through everything.
Yeah, that gets the definite pat on the head. Also, yeah, when she started talking about grey, it's not the only thing. The engineer is doing his best to like, basically keep his temper, and I mean that in like both directions. He's trying not to get too madly furious about what happened at the party because, you know, even though Shortskid hasn't really gone through it, I think Larry absolutely would, like, and there were enough other people. And, you know, Dodo Studios kind of got brought up with the whole thing with Zan. Also, if you haven't listened to Faces on Parade Part 3, sorry, spoilers, basically.
Yeah, just a little bit,
so
but it's still real vague, and you'll still have to go out time.
Bad shit went down, and, but Shortskid's Silver Slippers that they got at the end of the reunion game are basically a tune that they go back to Dodo Studios if they click the heels together. So those came in as part of a plot device. Those are still out there, right? Like, Zan has those.
He should.
Oh boy, that's interesting. That could have repercussions. Anyway, so so I think the engineer does basically know what happened. Also, it was like a huge thing. Like, a lot of people were involved in that incident, like a bunch of real kinds.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that you don't know what happened. I totally agree with you. I'm just saying that this 8-year-old has not told you any of this.
Yeah, that makes sense. No, I was just trying to figure out where it's at, like, as a world news article, because, like, holy shit.
No, you got it. You've absolutely got it. I'm just like, in a child's mind, if they haven't told you, it doesn't exist.
Yeah. Oh, also, yeah, no, basically everyone would know, because Luton was there and would have written the world's best article about it. So, yeah, it's bad. So basically, to rewind, Engineer is sitting there trying not to go lava hot, because he is in close proximity to his starving child, but he's also trying not to go concrete grey, because he is so sad about what happened and the fact that he wasn't there. He was the one who got the invitation. Shortskid just happened to see it and was like, oh, a fancy dress party, I want to go. And the engineer was like, I'm too busy and I really don't want to go. And Larry was like, oh, I'll take them. And he was like, oh, great. A point of opportunity for Larry and Shortskid to bond and then to, you know, have their own wings. And then all this shit happened and he feels so responsible, like he should have been there. He should have, like, either said they couldn't go or have been there, and he didn't do either. So he feels like an absolute abject failure for having done this, especially after the camping trip. Like, that was supposed to be a nice thing for Shortskid, and then, like, that hasn't even resolved yet. The second part hasn't been played, but
no, Shortskid is gonna be fine, but oh boy,
oh, it was awful. So yeah, there's a lot of feelings going on with him. I think I better make a whiz save actually to see what color he's ended up.
All right,
this is actually going to be like a spectrum thing. Like, what color is the engineer? 9. Okay, great. Actually, like, that's good. He manages to keep his temperance in the middle, so he's basically a fairly poker face orange, but it's sort of wobbling. Yeah, it's sort of fluctuating.
Shortskid is just sort of watching this, and I'm actually gonna roll an insight check for Shortskid.
Yeah.
Because I want to see if Shortskid can glean anything, because children are usually pretty good at that.
They are.
That is not very good.
I'll say you have advantage, because, like, you've been his child for a while now. You know the engineer.
Barely better. Basically, Shorts Kid knows something is wrong, and Shorts Kid knows that he's having a hard time sort of managing his emotions, and that both of these things that they have told him are like super hard to manage for them, so of course it's gotta be hard for him who wasn't like he wasn't there and he likes to be there, and it's hard and it's scary and just a bunch of other things like that. So Shorts Kid is the one this time to pat him on the head.
Oh no, you shouldn't be the one comforting me. And yeah, just wraps himself around and over this child. So, you know, like if Shorts Kid is in like a little compact little ball, he's in like a sort of outer layer orange skin style, like just wrapped all over her, like just trying to exude as much warmth and comfort as he can because he couldn't. He absolutely should have been there to do so. And yeah, he is internally just breaking into pieces. This is so hard.
And Shorts Kid says, "Did you have a nightmare too?"
I did, actually.
"'Cause you're never awake at this time. You like to sleep and you snore hard."
Well, I don't get much sleep, so when I do it at 110%, like I do everything else. I know I had a bad dream. I'm sure it kind of compared to yours. Can you remember anything yours was about?
I think I was at the top of someplace really, really tall. And I was holding your hand, but it wasn't exactly your hand. It was everyone's hand. And then there was this big shaky noise, and everything fell out from under my feet, but I didn't fall. You were the one who fell. And
oh, that's spooky. Same dream, dude.
I kept holding onto your hand, but you slipped right out, like you were made out of like satin or something slippery, like oil. And I said no, and I tried to grab you again with Mage Hand, but it didn't work. There was no Mage Hand. And I just had to sit there and watch. But then the floor turned into a cage, and I was being held up by, like, I don't know what it was, but I was scared. And there were just people under me, and they were falling. And it was...
Shh. It's okay. It wasn't real. Yeah, lots of comforting, lots of patting, and yeah, he's actually a bit shook because that sounds like kind of weirdly parallel to the dream he had been having, and yeah, so this is like the other side of his dream was like the person who couldn't reach him and he couldn't reach. Oh wow, yeah. Oh gosh, ow, this is sad as hell.
Yeah. The worst part, and Shorts Kid whispers this one, the worst part was that I was fine in the cage. I couldn't get out, but I wasn't hurt. I was just sad. And then someone leaned in close, and right next to my ear they said, "Drop him again."
Oh wow, yeah, that one gets a wave of temperature. I'm going to do that with save again to see if he can at least keep it to the outside of him. Okay, yeah, he sort of manages to. That was a 10. But you definitely feel it, like, that gave him the equivalent of a shiver down his spine, but like fire elemental equivalent. Like, that's awful. Wow.
Hot.
Sorry.
It's okay, you're just a little toasty. Do you want to get a drink?
Hey, let's do that. Actually, we need more sugar.
More sugar?
More sugar. And I happen to know that Maisie has a soft spot for marshmallows.
And Shorts Kid goes, "Do you mean the ones in the cabinet with the lock on it?"
You know about that? How do you know about that? He's getting tickled. You're getting tickled.
No, I promise I didn't touch him much. I licked one.
Oh no, that's even worse, you monster. Come on, we better eat all of them so that she does not have to get your germs.
Oh, I don't have that many germs. I have the average amount of germs. And,
you do, you're a disgusting wee child, you're made of germs. And he's going to carry you under his arm to the kitchen, because, yeah, you need to make some campfire marshmallow fun happen, because, my god, wow, this nightmare stuff is, like, heavy as shit, and he actually is still trying to process, like, what kind of advice can you give? Like, yeah, I mean, they're both in a bad state, and this is an interesting way of their brains processing it.
yeah, Short's kid is still giggling, but they eventually sort of wriggle out and then jump, jump, hop, climb up the cabinets to the locked one, and they look at him expectantly, like, open, open.
Open. Okay. He is going to try and, I guess, pick the lock with his claws. Because maybe this will work. He's never done this, really. What do I do?
This one would be for you to roll sleight of hand.
Yeah, I have a feeling this isn't gonna work.
That,
does that work?
I'll say it doesn't, because, like, you're not doing it, like, cleverly. You're not trying to convince Macy that, like, nobody has ever gotten into the marshmallows ever, and that the gate hasn't been tampered with. You just kind of stick a claw in, and you wiggle it back and forth, and then when you try to pull it out, you have just broken the lock from the cabinet door.
Oh, well, I suppose that works. Whoops. He does the sort of tugging at the tartan-coloured what do you call it, dressing gown that he's wearing. So I'll fix that later, and I will get Maisie some more marshmallows. But I think we are in direst need of them right now.
Shorts kid, big smile, reaches with both hands and pulls out a positively enormous bag of marshmallows, which, true to Shorts kid form, has a tiny hole in one corner, and you can tell that one of the marshmallows has not only been licked but bitten a little.
Oh, that is nasty, but, like, he's not gonna point that out, but still, it's really funny. He's like, alright, we've got marshmallows, is there anything else? You said drink. What do we need to drink?
When I get too warm, like, it's too hot, I know that the best thing to drink is usually... I like juice, but, like, I know that old people don't like sugar.
Oh, mind it. And juice is good, actually. Right now, I could do something to clear my head. So yeah, he's going foraging in the fridge. Can I say what we have? Pineapple juice? Because I love pineapple juice.
Yeah, sure. Shorts kid then just while he's looking for, like, juice that's within the, like, the expiration date, Shorts kid just sort of tucks under him and then pulls out at the vegetable crisper, which is like this little shelf drawer thing. Pulls it out. It is positively absolutely stocked full of juice boxes.
What else doing in there?
You don't know my life. And Shorts kid pulls out a pineapple juice box and offers it to him.
Alright, fair enough. And he accepts it.
Shorts kid pulls out apple juice for themselves and then shuts the crisper and says, "This is my favorite."
Oh, okay, I'll keep a note of that. Alright, I think we've requisitioned enough supplies for our mission. Shall we, we need well, I have an idea for how to roast these, but I might need your help, actually.
Shorts kid just kind of cocks their head like, "Isn't that a fire hazard? But you are a fire hazard. It'll be fine."
It'll be fine. Just don't tell Bob, okay?
Oh, it's okay. Bob's scared of me ever since I gave him an spending requisition form.
Really?
Yeah, cause I was like, "Hey, can I have $5 to go to the store?" And he was like, you gotta, is it for office things? Why are you asking me?" And, so I just said, "Yes, it is for office things. I need $5. Here is the note from the engineer, and it was not actually from you, but I really, really wanted some Skittles.
I love you so much. I give you a big kiss on the top of your head.
Shorts Kid is just like very, very smiley. In case you're wondering what that spending requisition form was, it was an official piece of like engineer stationery that Shorts Kid swiped and then wrote on in crayon.
I love you. I love this. He's very proud.
Needed one thing of Skittles.
Oh dear.
Signed NG, yeah. But like one of the E's is backwards.
You are a canny lass. Okay, last thing we need sticks. Well, I suppose these do. And he's reached into a drawer, and you know those thin wooden sticks that you sometimes use for kebabs, like that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So like they need a thing for helping with the roasting of the marshmallows.
Yeah, Shorts Kid accepts that and then goes, oh boy, and just kind of sticks the stick into the marshmallow bag, and then when they pull it out, they have like a perfect line of marshmallows on the stick going all the way down to their hand.
Haha, I gotta love that toonkind finesse. Okay, yeah, this is happening. So I think we go back to Fort, what did you call it? Cool Awesome Fairy Lights?
Yeah, Cool Awesome Fairy Lights, because I couldn't think of a better name.
That's the best name. That's also the kind of name an 8-year-old would come up with. So Fort Cool Awesome Fairy Lights is returned to. The heroes have returned from foraging in the desperate, deepest woods. And he sits down cross-legged and he's like, all right, I confess I'm kind of new to this. And he's actually a little bit anxious, but he's going to try and use a green flame blade, but on his paws. So like he's cupping his paws together and trying to summon some fire.
I'm gonna say that like it works, just because that's the type of night this is, where you have chances and you take risks, and everything ends up a little bit better for it. So you use this spell, and you're not sure if this would work in like an actual fight or anything, but like you're keeping the fire very small, and you yourself are pretty attuned to fire. So you just kind of let out that anger and anguish a little bit in your hands. And instead of making you explode with like light and heat, a little flame comes into existence, bright green.
That's awesome. Also, to be noted, when he's doing this, the palms of his hands turn completely black. It's whenever he uses magic, like the relevant part of him just turns jet black.
Yep. So, you have created this small flame, and despite being born of your worry and anxiety, it's almost jolly. It's comforting to look at. It is a positive use of these terrible emotions that you're feeling to sit here and comfort the both of you by roasting marshmallows.
I might actually cry. Unfortunately, I need to go for like 2 minutes. Can I let's call this like a little emotional break, because that's an adorable scene.
2 minutes of them roasting marshmallows, so we just have some...
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the little thing that I put in this up there...
title card, it's so cute.
If you haven't seen the title card, go look at the title card. It's very neat. I'll post it again. I'll post the title card again just so you know what we're looking at right now.
It's lovely. Okay, I'll be right back, I swear.
Okay. Just because we don't have anything to do here, someone has asked me, is it common knowledge that Shorts Kid's birthday is in a month? And I would say for people in the studio, yes. Have you ever met an 8-year-old, almost 9, who did not, like, fucking go around and when people are like, how old are you? And they're like, I'm 8. Almost, like, just very insistent on the fact that they are almost 1 entire year older. They're just a little older. But, like, to them, it's a really big chunk of time, so they're like, I am a grown-up. I've been a grown-up since I turned 7, but I'm really a grown-up now. Just, I love FPSs. They're so good, man.
I'm heading back. I haven't got my headphones in yet, but I'm here. Sort of. I can hear it now.
Hello.
Oh, hello. Sorry about that. Also, like, I've just thought, like, if you can manage to send me the audio of this, I can do the video editing.
Oh, I could probably send you the audio. I just, I think I would have to just upload the file to Google Drive and then send you a link to it.
Oh, yeah, let's do that. That's no problem.
Yeah. So, there we go. And, basically, we kind of ease back in, and, they, like, Shorts Kid and the engineer have now roasted many marshmallows. It smells like a sugar massacre in here. And Shorts Kid has 2 sticks, one with a lot of marshmallows on it for themselves, and one with slightly less marshmallows on it for their dad, but both roasted to perfection, except for Shorts Kid's, which roasted to perfection for Shorts Kid is just set on fire.
I think that's probably the same for the engineer, honestly. Like, you know who he is.
Just like, there are kids who are like, oh, I like it a little toasted. I just like it warm and melty on the inside. Shorts Kid is like, you set it on fire and then you blow it out, and that's what makes it good.
Mm-hmm. Very much the same ilk as her adopted father. Definitely the same.
So,
all about those carcinogens.
You both have, the fire in your hands peters out, and you both have a stick full of marshmallows, which Shorts Kid is eating like corn on the cob, and you are holding this thing of marshmallows, and I don't know, roll me perception.
Interesting. 16.
Normally you wouldn't notice this, because the tent itself is covered in fairy lights. And you also glow a fair amount, and you are casting fire everywhere. But now that the fire in your hands has gone out, and you only have to focus on eating your marshmallows and trying to keep your kid from eating the stick along with the marshmallows, because, well, an owl fox might be able to do that. A human toonkind child should not. Wood is not good for you.
I think he's going to refrain from doing that himself, just so he doesn't lead by example. Even though he would, normally, for sure.
So, you notice that there are shadows cast on the outside of Fort Cool Awesome Fairy Lights.
You're implying that these are shadows that are not meant to be there?
Yes, shadows from the outside being cast onto the tent.
Okay. He does the mental sort of coin toss between, do I not tell the child so that they don't freak out, or do I tell the child because I respect the child and it's actually probably better to tell the child? I'm going to tell the child. So he's like, I hate to interrupt this very rosy moment, but I think we may have company.
But we haven't set you and moves up yet.
What?
Nothing. What company? Scalion's asleep.
Like, from that 16, can I glean anything from these shadows? Also, he's definitely scooping said child closer to him again.
You can definitely glean something. You can tell that the shadows are shaped like foxes.
Okay, that's pretty strange. Just so that I know that I've not got my eyes playing tricks on me in my old age, everyone just accepting the joke that he doesn't have eyes for this saying. It's like, can you see what I'm seeing?
Well, what are you seeing?
There's some shadows, and they appear to be of the slightly vulpine persuasion.
Vulpine. I don't know what
Foxes.
that means.
They look a bit like foxes.
Oh, like foxes. Shorts Kid looks hard at the wall and then says, yeah, there's one or two. And look at that one. That one looks like a bunny.
Aye, it does, actually. I'm assuming it does.
It does.
Are they moving?
They are in fact moving. One of the fox shadows is moving close to the the entry flap of the tent.
You know that thing that dogs do when they are overly protective of a thing? So just imagine that he was hugging Short's kid, and now Short's kid has kind of very gently tumbled onto whatever cushions were underneath. And he's doing the four-legged stance with the ears back over Short's kid. He is just super protective. He hasn't got his sword with him. He hasn't really got much in the way of weapons outside of what he's made of, which is considerable. But yeah, he is just like Steve.
A fox made out of fire and shadow is poking its nose into your fort.
Ow.
It also does not have eyes, and it has ears that look very much like your own.
Okay, that's very strange. Yeah, he is not moving. He is not moving. And I think he just says, "Who are you?"
The fox tilts its head and then gently says, "We saw your fire."
Can I roll insight? Like, do I know or recognize this creature to be
yes,
a
you
threat
can,
or someone I might, be related to distantly?
yeah, you can roll that. You can roll insight, but just as they say, "We saw your fire," you see just right next to the fox is a tiny little shadow bunny.
Oh wow. Okay, that's new. 16. What do I get from that?
Pretty good. You get the idea that this is not an actual like person creature. This is not like this is not another toon, and it's not someone you've met before, but God, do they look a lot like you. God, do they feel a lot like you. Just in terms of there's a little bit of comforting heat coming off of them. It's quiet. It smells like a fireplace in December. That sort of charge in the air. They don't have eyes, but you can tell that they're looking at you and just kind of leaning in and sniffing, like almost hoping you'll invite them in.
Okay, better question. What are you? Both of you?
And the fox then sits down right outside of the tent, and the bunny hops in, which Short's kid puts a hand right on your nose, Train Dad, to keep you from snapping at the bunny. Because that's a bunny! Bunnies are good!
Yeah, the engineer is still full on defensive because cute and fuzzy does not mean harmless. He's quite a good example of that.
And as the bunny hops closer, you can see that it is not actually shadow. It is made out of star stuff. It is dark and it has sparkles in it like stars.
Okay, that's cool, but also like, what the hell? I mean, I'm starting to suspect that they've both fallen asleep, but I don't want to spoil that illusion if it's true. Yeah, I think he's just staying where he is, and is going to, like, expect this rabbit to say something.
The bunny does in fact say something. The bunny says, "Sorry, we're late."
Late?
Yeah, late. And the bunny looks over at the fox, who says, "We meant to get here earlier. But, you can't always catch a nightmare just as it's coming in."
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not good. Like, he doesn't really understand what that meant. But like this is some kind of psychic magic doohickery, and with the nightmare thing, like there's been some nightmares before, and he's half suspected that someone called Dora was responsible for those. So yeah, he's like he's got hold of Short's kid and he's backing away. Actually, he doesn't understand enough to trust these things at all.
The fox leans forward and says, "Until you used your magic to make the fire, we couldn't quite find you. It was so dark. And nightmares make everything darker."
Oh no, I'm sorry, because I kind of get where this is going, But the engineer's mindset is like still like, I have been responsible for so much misery for so many people and failed to protect them. Now he's brought some weird things into the studio somehow because he tried to do magic, which he has issues with already, and like, nah, that's bad. Like he's actually growling now.
Well, no, mind your language. We're here to help.
Leave him alone. He's really trying not to be too hot, but he's like also basically like, no one touch this child, or everyone dies.
Do you lick your mother with that mouth? Come on. And the fox just sort of tilts their head down like a little reproachful cuff, like instead of being like an old, has had children before man, he's like a small kid who is like growling at a person, and they're like, don't growl, human beings don't growl, what are you doing? And they just said, you don't have to worry. They wouldn't hurt themselves. And the bunny says, no, we wouldn't.
Okay, I think it's an insight check again, like to see if he can actually process.
Give it a shot.
Yeah. Player versus playee. This is a hilarious difference. Oh, 20. A nat 20 plus 4.
Yep.
He's got it. Hooray.
Instantly, a light comes on over your head, but this time it's a little green flame. It just pops to life. You figured it out. And you just sort of, you're not angry anymore. You're not scared anymore. Because as soon as you look between the little space bunny and your child, and then you look between yourself and this big fire magic fox, you realize that they're mirrors in a way. When they say that they won't hurt themselves, they're being honest. Because Shorts Kid is this bunny in a sort of weird way, and you are this fox.
That's weird. I mean, like, he gets it, but it's also kind of really freaking weird. So he's stopped, like, the hackles have gone down. He's definitely still, like, holding Shorts Kid, but, you know, it's more in a sort of mutual comfort-seeking sort of a thing. He's like, what is going on?
And Shorts Kid just kind of pups their head up a little bit, and then gently reaches out for the bunny and says, I think that's magic. And Shorts Kid uses detect magic, and they can tell definitely that both of these creatures, the fire fox and the space bunny, both of them are magic. They are pure concentrated magic. And the fox says, clever girl, but this time with a little bit of a Scottish accent.
Okay. Yeah, okay. The engineer is going to let Shorts Kid, if they want to, interact with the bunny, and he is, you know, he's almost avoiding looking at his. He's very interested, like, genuinely, in the rabbit, because that's cool. Like, a space bunny, that's really cool. And his creative side now, his curiosity is starting to kick in. Like, wow, this is neat. Maybe I can use this idea for something. But on top of that, there's definitely, he's kind of avoiding acknowledging this fire spirit fox.
And Shorts Kid then reaches out for the bunny, still, like, next to their dad, holding on to him. And the bunny hops by and says, I'm sorry, I'll do better next time. No more nightmares tonight. And the bunny looks very determined and stomps one of its little star feet. And Shorts Kid laughs and goes, what are you talking about? You don't control that. And the bunny says, no, but I can fight it. I can fight those nightmares. And he just got the better of me earlier tonight, and I'm gonna go back in and I'm gonna punch him right in the dumb horse nose. And Shorts Kid is confused, but then the bunny leaps and dives right into Shorts Kid's chest. They just kind of ripple in like water.
Oh, I think there's an initial sort of fear response, but you know, he's understanding, like that's a part of Short's kid, so he's hoping that that hasn't done anything awful to them.
Uh,
Right.
it hasn't done anything wrong. You can see that the fox is just watching patiently as Short's kid yawns and their eyes go starry all throughout, and they go, I'm sleepy. Can we sleep in the fort?
We can, but are you okay? That wasn't some sort of weird psychic spell that's going to take your brain out of you or something?
No, I feel good.
Okay.
I feel real good. Like, you know, when you got someone in front of you that you trust. I feel like when you crawl into bed because you had a bad dream and you got someone right there with you.
I think he's just gonna hold her and let them fall asleep because, like, whatever this kid's been through, he needs some sleep, and you know, he does want them to feel happy, but like, yeah, he still doesn't really trust anything that's going on right now. So he's just like, I mean, even with that 20, like, he's been through so much. Like, he's so afraid for this child. Like, he's so afraid of doing the wrong thing.
Short's kid reaches up a hand lazily and again places their tiny child hand on his mouth, just like blap, blap, like grasping out, and says, Don't worry. You worry so much.
Hey, but that's my job, isn't it? Gives her him a kiss again, because, oh, he loves her so much.
And Short's kid just sort of cuddles up and says, It's okay. It's okay. It doesn't feel like it's okay. But if you keep going, you keep fighting, everything turns out the way it's supposed to be. And then they fall asleep.
Oof. Oh. If the engineer could exude tears, yeah, that would be happening. But yeah, he's just going to be very still. So he's absolutely sure that they're asleep. Yeah.
The fox walks further into the tent and sits next to the engineer in the quiet and the dark. The scent of previously roasted marshmallows has waned, and for now, this large, glowy fox thing is just comforting. It's very comforting. And it turns its head and it says to you, They're right, you know.
I should be the one telling them the good advice.
And the fox just sort of chuckles and says, You learn more from your kids than they learn from you sometimes. You'd think you'd know this.
But like, he does like feel kind of like, you know, that kind of chiding, upbraiding thing, like a loving parent would give you that sort of advice, and it's like, you know, it's right, and part of it's kind of nice to hear, but it's also, it kind of stings. It kind of stings, because, like, you know, he's been chaotic neutral his entire life, and now he's actually chaotic good, and it's very hard.
Being good is hard.
Being good, yeah.
So the fox just says, Of course you're supposed to worry. And of course there are going to be things to worry about. But just remember, for as much worrying as you like to do, there's a million things that you miss by worrying so much. You didn't even hear the child when they fell out of bed earlier, did you?
What? Oh no, that flumping noise that was there?
Yep. I didn't realize either until you would finally, you know, woken up and all that, and then little space bunny came to come find me.
Oh, they came to find you. That's nice.
Of course. I'm you.
Yeah, that's like a mixture of happiness and guilt for sure. But like, he does actually finally look at this thing, because he's only just started to accept and tap into his magical abilities. And a lot of that is like, having to confront things that he doesn't like to think about. It's very uncomfortable for him to think about this whole fire elemental side of him. And he's like, so you really are me?
And the fox nods. Oh, give or take a couple of aneurysms in the making, yes.
Well, I'd better get better acquainted with you.
I think you should. Because I think if you got to know me, we'd have a great time. And by the way, your final film in the trilogy. It's
Yes?
going fantastically, but just consider how you want it to end. And consider how it should end. And maybe just go with what you really want to happen, instead of what should happen. Just once.
Okay, I'll give it a go.
It's good for you, you know? Sometimes you need a happy ending.
He definitely accepts that, and in this sort of nodding, he's basically saying, "Come on, then."
The fox then leans in and, boop, snoot touches your snoot and, says, if you have another nightmare, we'll be there. Maybe you won't see us, but we're always going to be behind you. And the fox just kind of merges right into Engie, and, Engie, you feel sleepy and at ease. For once in a really long time, you feel like you've drunk like a large warm drink. You have your child burrowed into your side. You are in the coziest little tent made of cushions and love and fairy lights. And everything seems okay. Just for now. You had a horrible nightmare not an hour prior, and you didn't know, you couldn't think about how you were ever going to sleep again. And now it just seems so obvious. No matter how much you worry about something, if it's something that you can change, you will change it in the future. And if it is something you can't change, then why worry about it? It already happened. And you find yourself resolving inside, coming to this sort of, this realization. Do you want to describe what the realization Engie has? Because I've given you a couple little tidbits, but like, I want you to say ultimately what tonight has taught him, TM.
I'm so sorry if there's noise in the background. It's because the builders next door have just arrived and stopped messing about. God damn you! This is an emotional scene. I think if he's going to help anybody else, he has to accept help himself, and part of that is giving himself time and being kinder to himself, like rather than immediately like saying, I should have been there, I should have been able to fix this, I should have been able to prevent it. Like these events were not his fault. Like the bad guy was someone else. Like, okay, maybe in another reality he didn't let them go and this didn't affect them. The party would still have happened. That bad person would have still done bad things, and it would still be horrible. But he can't help fix the repercussions of it if he's just beating himself up. He's got to find the right enemies to attack.
Exactly. Take that anguish, and take that anger, and take that sadness, and roast some marshmallows.
Oh yeah, where's the marshmallows?
And,
lovely game. Oh my god.
Yep,
Oh.
and with that, you just sort of fall backwards right on top of a particularly squeaky stuffed animal. One of your little slippers, your little owl slippers pops off, and, just before you fall asleep, you hear, and it sounds surprisingly like this fox, like yourself, say, by the way, her name is Aurora.
Sorry. He's like drifting away, but like, Aurora?
And Short's kid lifts up their head and says, Dad, what is it? What?
Oh. It's nothing. Good night, Aurora.
Okay. And the two of you cozy up into the just a little tiny like ball of pillows and comfort and blankets, and you fall asleep at 3 in the morning. It's dark, it's warm, and for once, it's safe.
I cried in the crumb. Oh my god, that was so soft. Thank you, that was lovely.
I'm here to make you feel things.
Yes, you succeeded in making me feel the things.
I'm just like, one of the things that drives me nuts about the engineer is that he's never nice to himself. Even Short's kid knows that occasionally you gotta give yourself a break. Yeah. But the engineer does not. So I'm just like, I'm gonna have his magic come out and specifically tell him to give himself a break.
Yeah, that's good timing, especially, on Saturday he's gonna need to put that into practice. My god, these builders could not be any louder. Can you hear this shit?
I can't.
Okay, if that's good. Thank you, Mike, for cutting that out, because they are... What are you doing over there, dudes? Anyway, if you send me the audio, I will edit it, or at least, like, put your lovely title card on it, because that's so good. I love it.
Okay. Again, thank you, everyone who tuned in. I hope you had a good time and enjoyed us sitting here, and I almost cried a couple times. I'm not gonna lie.
Me too.
I'm buff and I can admit when I'm going to cry, so I'm gonna hit end for the recording.